photo. Say, I see a mushroom down there.
Right
little
off in there.
portobello.
Yeah. You like that demi-glaze? A little
yeah,
bit of that on there?
little bit of
That's
the
a
demi.
win. That is a very good spot. They're family-owned and operated. 627 Begley Road in Berea. Open for lunch and dinner Monday through Saturday. Full bar. Great patio that Gibbs enjoys a great deal, I do know. Check out their website, Jojo Carlonis, or give them a call, 440-235-8880.
Very good.
Family-style options, catering, good stuff. I know Jarvis goes there. I think we know that. Time for the Ohio Business Machine Hot Topics. Preferred copier provider, the Cleveland Browns.
And we're live.
Who have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. All right, we got a little bit of good news today. Do you want to do the Greg Williams presser reactions first? Because there was some awesome stuff in which Greg is now my spirit animal because he said a line in the press conference yesterday where he says, if I don't need any more friends, and if I need a friend, I'm going to get a Labrador.
I'm going to buy a Labrador.
Which is basically the way I operate my life.
I feel like we've become friends, though.
We have been. So you have moved us little. You've pushed somebody else out.
Somebody's it's
Someone's
a zero
out.
sum. You're
It's
saying
zero
this is
sum.
a boat.
I have a
that
finite.
has so many seats in the Bo Bishop friendship.
I'm the guys
vessel.
on the Titanic.
Yeah.
And you're getting off, and that's it. 2 people on, 2 people off.
So when I came in,
You come in, somebody's out.
do they know it, or is it just does
treat
a
it-
cold wind blow in their direction?
I
from
treat
you?
it the way that the Bobs treated the guys on Office Space. Like eventually it just sorts itself out.
Yeah.
That's how I treat it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you want? Yeah, sure. Open-ended,
Love to see you.
but never.
No follow through.
No follow.
Zero.
No chance. Greg's presser was great. He's an amazing human being, and these press conferences are going to be amazing with him the rest of the year. I think the overriding he says that everything, like when he's at one point in the press conference he talks about premeditated and all of this stuff. That's premeditated. Everything he does is for a reason. He's been around a very, very long time, and some of it's for effect. But the one thing that I took away from it was competition. Certain changes he's already made to practice. There's no music at practice now, and I think he started yesterday's practice with saying individual drills. We're just going to hit each other, and that's the way it's going to go. And so this is kind of there's usually a little bit in the NFL. You make a change like this, it goes in the other way, and Greg Williams provides that other way.
Right, and that's why he's here. I think so much has been focused on him saying he got 11 offers and 4 where he just had to sign. People are losing their minds about this.
Are they, or is it just Twitter people?
No, people. I was on multiple text chains where that was the focus.
People were all fired
that's
up
all
about
that they
it?
heard in yesterday's press conference. And people, I mean, you have people, national media members going nuts, and I guess he was asked about it today and said, well, every time I turned down one of those offers, I stayed where I stayed and I got a raise. So I feel no need. And I don't know why people. Why is this what people are getting excited about? Why
Because
is this
you've got all of this. If you're in our business that we do right now in the radio, you have all of this dead air that has to go away. If you're in television, you have they call it black air that has to go. You make the black go away. So there's that. If you're in if you're writing or anything and you need clicks and all this stuff. He's Greg Williams. He is certainly he's a polarizing figure, and when he makes noise, people listen to it. The one thing I would tell you, based on people that I've talked to who know Greg very well, is the bluster that you get publicly is also there privately, but there also is a give and take, and his players love him.
Yep.
Love him.
Yes,
love
they
him.
do.
Absolutely do. So
yes, they do.
I think it was good. What did you think of his first? Did he win the press? That's always a big thing around here. Did you win the press conference?
That's all we do. We have people come and win every press. I mean, that's what we do. It doesn't matter. I don't care about winning press conferences. I care about winning games. And I think everybody else does, and that's what
Can
Greg
we
Williams
put that
does.
on a T-shirt?
Tell our
Where I'm from?
Where I'm from. I don't care about
By the
winning
way,
press conferences. I only care about winning games.
The 6 shirts are out. Joe Thomas took all of ours.
All of them.
Everyone.
All of them.
This is a true story. The good people from where I'm from, they dropped the 6 shirts off.
They dropped a box that probably had. I'm gonna guesstimate there were
20.
I was gonna go 35 shirts in there.
Sold. You went to a better school. Joe's in here on a Monday.
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you mind if I take some of these?" We go, "Yeah,
Of course.
Of course. Joe Thomas. Of course. Names could be on front of the building."
We're gonna have to talk about with him as well.
We will when he comes back.
Yeah.
So he proceeds to clean it out. Cleaned out the box.
I think I ended up getting 2 shirts. You got 1, and maybe there were you got 0. 0. And that was it.
It was over. It was a wrap.
It was like a locust went through there. It was like
Cleared
those
it out.
videos where they drop a cow in a lake with piranha.
That's right.
And
It's just gone. It
gone.
liquidates. It's gone. That's exactly what it was like. Did you see?
the good news is that he probably, in his financial situation,
I'm sure they were donated.
he needs those shirts more than you and
Oh,
I.
he definitely needs more than he's living paycheck to paycheck.
I mean,
The
that's right.
the Browns practiced late today, later than normal. We're still practicing as we approach the 1 o'clock hour. Greg Williams speaking now. We'll have some of that for you a little bit later on in the show. But good news, E.J. Gaines was back on the practice field yesterday, and then another buoying of sorts today with Higgins back. And so that is a big, big deal. The chemistry that he had with Baker in training camp, I think, certainly went over into the season. He's somebody Baker knows very well. There's a chemistry there that's natural that was built in training camp and should continue now if he can stay healthy the rest of the way.
Yeah, and it's kind of like getting a wide receiver at the trade deadline because you're getting a guy back that has played very well for you so far this year. And I think you mentioned it there. He is a guy that there is a big comfort factor with for Baker Mayfield. You look at the Browns receivers, and Jarvis Landry, 49 catches on 93 targets, just above 50%. Antonio Callaway, 21 catches on 47 targets. Again, below 50%. Higgins and Ratley. Higgins, 16 catches on 23 targets. Ratley, 10 on 15. Higgins leading your team, 15.3 yards per catch as well. So those were the guys that he was playing with in training camp. And it's no surprise to me that that's who he has the better chemistry with, and you hope that Hollywood is able to come back and pick up where he left off because he was a valuable member of what we were doing. I mean, Antonio Callaway in 8 games has fewer receiving yards than Rashard Higgins in 5. So he is your number 2 receiver, and getting him back, I think, will be very valuable to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and a guy Baker trusts. You know, if you think about Baker when he first got in and was just spinning it and dropping, back foot drop, and away we go, the ball's out. Higgins was a guy who he trusts completely. He trusts Jarvis as well, but I think and I think David, and working into some trust factors with others, but that's something that can only help this team going forward. And you're going to need all the help you can get because this is a full day. This is a pack-a-lunch situation on Sunday, my friend.
It is. It's going to be a full day, and these guys are going to need to catch a lot of balls and have a lot of fuel in that lunchbox because you're going to have to score with this Chiefs team averaging 36 a game.
You should.
I don't want to go out and say that we can score 36. I mean, can we? Of course.
No, but we should be able to
move the football.
We should be able to move the football against this
team. We need to. And there's, we've seen this team too many 3-and-outs, and that's what we cannot have on Sunday. There cannot be the bevy of 3-and-outs. And listen to this. Here are the team's 3-and-out percentages in the NFL. The Rams, 3-and-out 12.6% of the time. The Chiefs, 25% of the time. The Rams are first. The Chiefs are tied for third with the Saints in that stat. The Browns, 29th in the league, 40.3% of the drives end 3-and-out.
I'm going to take this approach for the next 8 that this is a second season. I do like first Friday,
second
Friday. This is a second season for the offense because this is all new now. Now they're running the same offense, but the way they go about their business, I think, will be an entirely different way of going about their business. And we'll have Freddie Kitchens on at 2 o'clock. We'll have his press conference so you get a little bit better feel.
Yeah.
But I think that whatever Freddie Kitchens does offensively is done with a heavy influence of what Baker wants to see and what John Dorsey wants to see.
I sure hope so.
And so I think what you will see offensively for the Browns the second half of the season, I don't know if it's going to manifest in a bunch of points or wins. It's still a very young team. But I think the look of what they do will be far more in line with what Baker – because the game against Pittsburgh made no sense.
You hope so.
There was a lot of plays that made no sense against Pittsburgh, like 15.
Yeah, we didn't even get into Baldinger's stuff.
No, that's
at
true.
all.
We didn't get into that yesterday, but
maybe we
some
can
of
get
the stuff was
today. But I think you're
ludicrous.
right, and hopefully we do see some of those trends. Now, the question will be how much of that was actually in Todd Haley's playbook. My answer is I really don't know. I don't know if that was a big part or that's going to be enough that the Browns can get it going here. We'll see, but you hope that this offense is more conducive to success for our guy Baker Mayfield than some of the situations he was put in previously because of what was happening in Todd Haley's offense.
Going to see the Browns at First Energy Stadium. Now with Park Mobile, you can easily reserve a parking spot before you head to the game. Drive right to the lot, have a guaranteed spot waiting for you. Just make a parking reservation on the clevelandbrowns.parkmobile.io website. That's clevelandbrowns.parkmobile.io. Find your game, select your lot, reserve your spot. Discover a smarter way to park with Cleveland Browns games at First Energy Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.parkmobile.io. Coming up next, the Chiefs defense versus that Browns offense. We will get into the matchup. Off and running on a Thursday, CBD 850 WKNR. All right. So we're on the Facebook, the YouTube. I'm on the YouTube right now for the Ask Us Almost Anything. Is Facebook the better place for that, I wonder?
The Periscope might be because they can type in questions in real time.
Where do I pull that up? Well, I can't pull that up, though, because you have to be the Browns official. Let me go to the Facebook one. Let me see if I can do live questions there. All right. So ask us almost anything.
Right. Just not about the Browns.
Just not about the Browns, because we do a show about the Browns.
You will hear us talk about the Browns.
So Gibbs is supposed to be doing this.
He's the MIA.
He doesn't even want to be a part of the show anymore.
It hurts.
He just disappears. I don't even know what he's doing.
When you say that
Now it
out,
all comes out.
when you say that out loud, it makes me really sad.
He's out.
And he's done.
All right, Ron. Well, you want to keep the questions coming on YouTube? Ask one, buddy. Let's go. Let's see what you got. Ron had a couple of good ones yesterday.
Ronnie.
Kip wants to know who cuts your hair, Nathan.
Me.
Fantastic. Jeez.
Kayla got me this unbelievable thing. It's like, I'm going to call it, it's the modern Flowbee. So it's, everybody has the clippers.
Yeah.
So it's the clippers, and you can charge it, so it can be wireless. And then on the front side of the clippers, there's a removable cartridge, but it has like a fan that sucks all the hair. So as you do it, it literally sucks into this chamber in the front. And you can take it out. And you could even, as soon as I'm done, because one of the things with clippers, as soon as you're done, when you rub your hand through your hair, it's covered.
Yeah, sure, of course. Not anymore. What's this product called?
It's amazing. I will take a picture of it.
Yeah, I'll need to know this product.
It is so good. I imagine it could do wonders for your beard.
Yeah,
if you do any
I
clipper
made
on
a
the
critical
beard.
mistake. I'm fatter than I used to be, and I made a critical mistake in trimming the beard too short, which has exposed the double chin situation. So I have to remember to keep.
I just see your beautiful eyes.
Well, it's nice of you to say. I have to remember to keep a little bit of beard.
Okay.
Yeah, and Baker made that mistake, although he doesn't have the double chin. But he went a little short. Bakes went a little short.
I think if you just grow out the bottom here to this length.
Oh my gosh.
It's almost like, you remember
Jim the Anvil Neihart? Just
yes,
go real.
Yes, go Neidhart, because think about it. That's for you.
I could do that over the.
Remember the old school catcher's mask where you'd have the thing that hung underneath the catcher's mask that was like your throat protector?
Yeah, of course.
This will be like your chin protector. So like you just have that down there, and it's like a fence. It's like a gate.
Ruth wants to know, what's your most favorite job? I'm assuming other than the one we currently have.
What was my favorite job that I ever had?
You got to hurry.
I mean, doing fantasy football. I mean, getting to be in that world, going to CBS.
I worked for a beer distributor.
You're listening
in
to
college.
Cleveland Browns Daily on ESPN 850 WKNR.
Beer distributor.
Distributor.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're up.
Watershed Distillery raised out a commitment to community and the courage of forging one's own path. When owners Dave and Greg quit their jobs, swapped out their suits for jeans and T-shirts, and started distilling Watershed vodka, handmade by the home team right here in Ohio, available throughout Cleveland. I just saw this yesterday, I believe in Men's Journal, Watershed Bourbon, which I have not had, but was rated as a top 50 bourbon, or top 50 whiskey. Who knew? Yeah.
Listen,
That's a good job out of them.
They ditched their suits for jeans and T-shirts and started distilling.
I think about that. I think any time that you ditch the suits for the jeans and T-shirts, it's a win. Whatever the products is, I think it's going to be more fun.
You've made a good decision. You made a decision you're going to be happy with.
Yeah, it's going to be more fun in jeans and T-shirts. All right, this is a Chiefs defense against a Browns offense that, as we do this matchup, we are so different offensively than what I thought we would be in August.
Yep.
It's hard to say. One of the things we've grappled with the last couple of weeks on this show is what exactly is our identity? What are we trying to do offensively? And I don't know. I didn't know. And now we won't know either because we have a new guy calling plays. It's going to be the same offense, but the plays that you call in that offense, Todd Haley's off. You can do anything you want in the offense. You want to run shotgun, you could be under center, whatever. But what exactly are the Cleveland Browns offensively? I think we will start to see that play out, but we won't know until Sunday for sure. My guess is it would be a lot of shotgun, a lot of RPO, and a lot of Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson.
The question is just how much RPO is in that playbook. And I think that's what we're going to find out because I believe that if there is a substantial amount of it, we'll see more of it with Freddie Kitchens. This is a Kansas City Chiefs team that has struggled defensively. And part of that is when you're blowing people out and scoring as many points as they do, you give up yards, and they can be somewhat meaningless. But here they are. They're giving up 25.6 points per game. That's 21st in the NFL. 432 yards per game, 31st. 127.6 yards rushing per game, 25th. And 305 yards passing per game. That is 29th. Obviously, with these stats, one of the things you always want to look at is really where are they in terms of, yards per carry, et cetera, things like that. So it's a defense that can get to the quarterback. Again, part of that, in my mind, has to do with the fact that this is a defense that knows for a quarter a game, given the way that they've played most weeks, that they're able to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. Now, when we talked about yards per carry, the Chiefs give up 5.4 yards per carry. That is most in the NFL. That is a number that the Browns hope to exploit. You want to establish an identity, run the football in this game. They've given up 10 rushing touchdowns on the ground, but they are giving up 5.4 yards per carry. And that's not something that is, come out of a huge home run. The longest run they've given up on the year, by the way, only 26 yards. So that means people are consistently generating good yardage against this team, 5 yards a carry. So I want to see the Browns really try to attack that and exploit that. I talked about how their ability to get to the quarterback, and they've done a very good job. They're two defensive ends in a 3-4 defense, which is not typical. Their two defensive ends each have 4 sacks. The Chiefs have 24 sacks on the season. That is second in the NFL. But Allen Bailey's got 4. Chris Jones has 4. Dee Ford's got 8 at outside linebacker. Justin Houston has 3, but only has played 5 games, and it looks like he will be back this week. You can also attack this team, as I said, through the air. Kendall Fuller, Steve Nelson, Orlando Scandrick are their corners, and they are not great. Eric Berry's been banged up all year. So it's a team you can take advantage of defensively. The question is, can you stay close enough, long enough for that to matter? Because if you're down 14-0 against this Chiefs team, that's not where you want to be.
No, I almost think in a game like this, you almost have to just worry about what you're doing.
Yep.
If you try to react to them, I just think you can end up chasing it. I think you just chase the game. This team is one of the most fun teams you're going to watch play. Unfortunately, you're playing them Sunday. But as we said earlier in the week, this is the team that when you get Madden and after you play the first season or franchise with your favorite team and you go find the team that would be the most fun to play with, this is the team you go and grab. Remember, Mike Vick and the Falcons in the 2004, I think, Madden, where he was just ridiculous. That's kind of what this is. They're a whole lot of fun, and I think it's really, really critical for the Browns offensively to not try to match, duplicate. They just need to stay singularly focused on doing what they do best, and our offense can move the ball because the kid can spin it. And Nick Chubb's great. You talk about, what'd you say, 5.6 yards a carry that the Chiefs are giving up? Nick should have a day. He should absolutely have a day, and I think he will have a day. But then on the outside, we're going to need to catch and make plays. Higgins coming back, that's a big, big deal. If he can make a little bit of hay and be trustworthy, and Jarvis as well, David should have a big day. But really, just do what you do. Don't try to chase them, because I think if you chase them, it can end up going the other way.
The biggest issue I see going forward for this offense, and you're talking about getting it done, you've got to protect the quarterback. And we've seen the pressure coming off the edges. And you've got Dee Ford, who's going to be lining up on the left side, which means he's going to be going against Chris Hubbard, who we all know is a prize free agent who is, eye test-wise, seems like he has had his struggles. That is going to be a critical matchup. Ford coming off of a game in which he had 3 sacks last week against Denver. This is going to be a huge matchup for the Browns. So look for them maybe, and we'll see if Freddie Kitchens, because part of what happened against the Steelers was scheme as much as anything in your protections and what you were asking guys to do. Does Freddie Kitchens decide to give these tackles a little bit more help in this game?
I believe Greg addressed that yesterday and said we worked on that yesterday in practice, that we are not going to allow that to happen, because there were too many times last weekend where Dupree or Watt just ran and Baker unblocked, and Baker. I mean, it just was crazy, some of the stuff that was happening. This is an interesting one. NFL Matchup on ESPN put out a stat about best and worst rated quarterbacks outside the pocket this season, and Baker was dead last in that. And Jeff wanted to know if we were worried about the statistic. I am not, because I think I think what has happened, the one thing about those type of stats is it depends. Like you'd have to know how many times it's happening, right? And so Baker's a guy who tries to stay in the pocket as long as possible and kind of only runs out of desperation. He likes to step up in the pocket, but the pockets have been collapsing around him. I'm guessing the stats also don't take into account drops, and there's been a lot of drops out of pocket where he's ran as well. It's such a small sample size with him that I'm not that concerned about it right now.
Well, it's going to say a couple things to me. Number one, it's interesting that 3 of the bottom 5 are all rookies. You have Baker, Darnold, and Rosen on that. Number 2, I think it also is a comment on the playmakers around him, because when you get outside of the pocket, that's where guys who are tremendous playmakers usually have an ability to break free, to get open when you have that extra time. So I think I'm not overly worried about it. I want it to improve as the season goes on. I'm more concerned with what he is able to do from the pocket more than what I think about what he's able to do outside the pocket. But the great players extend plays and make plays when they get out. So, and if you look at the list, I think on the good side of it, it's a pretty who's who of the quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Rivers, Goff, I mean, everybody who's playing well is on that list.
To your point, though, and you remember the play last week when Baker broke and pointed and makes a throw on the sideline, and it goes over. Is it Antonio Callaway's goes through his hands? Like those type of things. Like he does everything you're supposed to do. He puts the ball in a place where the receiver can catch it. It goes off his hands. So,
even Ratley's, if Ratley doesn't bobble that, he probably scores.
Right.
Instead, it's a 21-yard gain.
Instead, it's a 21-yard gain. All right. Hurry into, CareSource, individual and family health insurance. With health insurance from CareSource, you're not just covered, you're covered with kindness. Coming up next, we go Browns table. Jimmy and Doug coming up next. CBD 850 WKNR.
The leaves are changing. The days are cooling off. That can only mean one thing. It's football season.
Right.
Now is the best time to visit the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Located only a short drive away in Canton. Enjoy the Super Bowl Theater. A game-for-life holographic experience, interactive displays, one-of-a-kind memorabilia, and more. Take your picture with the actual Super Bowl 53 Lombardi Trophy. The hall is open 7 days a week. Tickets are available right now at ProFootballHof.com.
24/7, 365. You're up and at 'em every day, so you don't want something like Medicare Part D to slow you down. At Walgreens, we'll take care of your Medicare Part D prescriptions, saving you time and money. Make the switch to Walgreens today and get more by earning 100 balance reward points and save up to $5 on each Medicare Part D prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Prescription savings applies to Tier 1 generics, Minnesota preferred versus a non-preferred pharmacy on select plans. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, or Arkansas. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
If there's football and it's getting colder, that must mean one thing: Akron Zips basketball. Catch all the action with a season ticket for just $75. Your season ticket includes all regular season games and a potential first-round MAC tournament game, parking included. You'll also receive a season ticket holder gift, all adding up to less than $5 per game. Tickets alone start at $20 on game day, and parking itself is $10 per game. Over $500 value for just $75. Visit GoZips.com, text or call 888-99-AKRON.
Parker's Downtown is the perfect place for a pregame dinner or cocktail. Just steps from the queue inside the Kimpton Schofield Hotel. Valet your car at Parker's and your short walk to the arena. Come early for happy hour and enjoy drink specials and half off the delicious bar food menu. Check us out, parkersdowntown.com.
Looking for work? Minutemen is hiring all 3 shifts on Cleveland's near west side. Machine operators, press operators, inspectors. Visit MinutemenInc.com/ESPN. This is a great opportunity, so hurry before these positions get filled. No experience? That's okay. Now's your chance to get trained as a machine operator, press operator, or inspector, and they'll pay you for the training. I told you this was a great opportunity. Go to MinutemenInc.com/ESPN. That's MinutemenInc.com/ESPN.
Looking for a new career now that you're home from the military? Apprenticeships are available in many skilled building trades. Seth, who transitioned from the military to the laborers, says,
I've always been a hands-on guy, and I've always been interested in construction. I really didn't know what route to go.
People love that.
I hopped into the laborers, and I love it. I would recommend the building trades to returning veterans because the money is outstanding. It's easy to get into. Any contractor is looking for everyone, especially veterans.
Learn how to build your future at actohio.org/military.
Ohio Reading Corps and AmeriCorps program needs you to help shape the future of the younger generation. Build strong readers in Northeast Ohio by volunteering for the Ohio Reading Corps. 18 years or older may apply. Make a difference in your community. Register today at orck3.com.
You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on ESPN 850 WKNR.
Raiders. Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Grew up with some legends.
Hurry into Value City Furniture, your new reclining destination, the best and largest selection of power reclining furniture. We have just a spot for you to kick back on game days or any day. So shop Value City Furniture today and online at vcf.com. This is one of our favorite times of the week. It's Browns Table time with Jim and Doug. It has been a week, Jimmy. Let's, as we sit here on a Thursday, a couple days before a game, your thoughts on the way that this all went down this week?
Well, I have to tell you, I think it shell-shocked the locker room, and I think that's a major thing now to try and get that back together before you, never mind what Kansas City does offensively or defensively. Sometimes I think these things go one way or the other. I don't think there's any middle ground going on. I think it either really works and it becomes an incredible story, or it really blows up. And I remember when Butch Davis got fired and Terry Robisky was very excited to take over as the head coach of the Browns under the interim tag. But hopefully, I mean, Terry really thought, if I do pretty well here, maybe I'll be seriously considered. And I think the 10-1 New England Patriots came into Browns Stadium. And, everybody was excited, and Bethel Johnson took the opening kickoff back for the Patriots, and that's the way it went. And I think that's the tricky part of these things. They either go one way really well, or one way you could have this thing blow up.
I was involved in a couple of them. One was just for the last game of the season where Dick Modzelewski took over, and unfortunately we lost. And the other was when Sam got let go and Marty Schottenheimer took over, and it went both ways. We ended up 4-4 in the last 8 games. So I think, it's a new voice. The thing you hope is that the players don't point the finger as that was the reason why we weren't good. It was about everybody not playing up to potential, coaching and players.
So we're talking about the head coaching switch, but that was not it this week, as we found out a few hours after the initial news broke, and we found out live here on CBD for everybody who wanted to appreciate our genuine reactions. Todd Haley also let go, and we heard in the press conference, the comments from General Manager John Dorsey, Jimmy Haslam, but what did that signify to you?
Well, it signified that this must have been a really bad situation that was getting worse as the days went along, and it had a look, I think, because on Monday you kind of look back, it had kind of a bad look on Sunday over in Pittsburgh, that there were some things that were not going well. And it wasn't just James Conner. I mean, it was Browns induced that they just looked like they weren't, all in on things and that things were astray. But, I mean, when the news came out, it just seemed to me, I thought it would be an either-or situation.
Yep, sure.
And it didn't end up that way. It ended up with both guys going. So when, it just pointed out, and especially in the press conference with Jimmy Haslam and John Dorsey, I mean, the word dysfunction came up a lot. We were not going to tolerate dysfunction in our organization. So it seems as though this gap between Hugh and Todd Haley was real, expanding, and quite wide, I think, even going into that game in Pittsburgh.
And I think the thing is there's no winners because, everybody thought, well, if Hugh goes, then Todd will stay. If Todd stays, and when Hugh goes, there is no winner. And it's unfortunate, but I think if you look at the offensive side of the ball, the number of new people over there, that was a little bit tougher body of work to work with than what Greg had because he had most of those people last year. But with that said, the offense is, we've gotten a lot of turnovers and we haven't been able to get points, off of them.
A week ago today when we were doing this, and then we went downstairs to listen to Todd Haley, I thought everything was okay because Hugh had kind of walked back the emotional press conference from the Tampa game, and he was okay, and I'm interested in the offense. Of course I am. But then Todd Haley gave a real Parcellian press conference where he talked about you have to grind and you have to do everything, over and over and over, and then all of a sudden there'll be a day where it looks better. And I kind of said, okay, I think this might be the way we're going to go. This seems like it's okay, and then boom, it changes.
It changed, and we were texting, Bo and I, during the game, and I said in the second half, as we made it well into the fourth quarter without positive yards on offense, said this is as bad as I've seen our offense looking. I was going to say, I've seen some pretty bad looking offenses from the Browns. What were you guys thinking as you kind of watched that second half unfold? And it was more likely statistically and even in your perception that we were going backwards rather than forwards on any given play.
Well, as you well know, we have a stat guy up in the booth, and during the timeouts, he was passing along notes to me that I'm kind of looking at him going, is this right? I mean, this is unbelievable. So we came back one time. I said, Doug, get prepared here. What is worse, all the political ads that we're hearing right now leading up to the midterms, or these numbers that I'm about to read? I mean, they were shocking. I mean, that third quarter was shocking until the Steelers had the, let that kick go. I mean, it was awful what was going on. And then remember now, when Callaway catches the touchdown, it was like 3 Steeler penalties
in a row
that moved that ball down there, right?
We went shotgun on 2nd and goal from the 1 and got sacked.
Yeah, right.
Which could have derailed the whole thing, and they got another penalty back, and we went shotgun again on 1st and goal from the 1, and this time we scored.
Yeah. No, it was wild. I think even before what transpired on Monday, and you had a feeling that something was probably looming by the time you got here on Monday morning. But the one thing that even before that, guys, that jumped out to me was that we have got to do all that really matters is nurturing Baker and making sure that he grows in the appropriate. The rest, everything else. I mean, the playoffs were not going to happen. I mean, this is the way that this had gone. 2-2-1 was a long time ago, and so all that matters is put that kid, he's a franchise quarterback, putting him, Jimmy, in the best possible position to succeed, and they weren't doing it on Sunday at Pittsburgh, and that has to be done over the last 8 games.
No, and I think, there might have been, it was creeping in too, Bo. I think in Tampa he was taking a lot of hits and things like that too, but you're right, on Sunday, I mean, it was pretty tough to watch, and I was watching him even in his post-game press conference, and he was struggling to lift up his bag and things, and you're going, uh-oh. So you're right. I mean, if you could walk out of this season with the 8 games left now and say he's progressed, he's played a lot, and he's made it to the finish line too without any kind of serious injury that would have him losing games, and he's just gotten better, and things on the horizon are going to be taken care of, then okay. Then it's I don't know if it's a success, but personally it would be a success for him.
Yeah, and it's, you knew it was going to be a growing year for him. But I think, last Sunday he probably saw about every blitz that he could have saw.
Yes.
I mean, they came with everything, and we'd slide our protection one way and they'd blitz from the other side, and the numbers just weren't on our side.
And Deke, because the thing that was amazing was sometimes completely untouched and accounted for. TJ and Bud Dupree 5 or 6 times. There was no one impeding their shot at Baker. It was crazy.
And we went through it with Tim Couch, but with Tim Couch it was a different cast. I mean, there was no supporting cast for Tim Couch. You have some players here that obviously are playmakers. But, with that said, your receivers still have to get off the line of scrimmage and get open in a hurry if they're going to blitz like that.
Deke, we have guys on our team. Zeitler's played, obviously, against the Steelers twice a year for his whole career. Batonio's played the Steelers twice a year for his whole career. Hubbard was with the Steelers and has seen that defense for his entire career. Is that a coaching thing? Is that a player execution thing? Because it seemed to me you should have some familiarity with what they were doing, and the line was constantly wrong in whatever they were trying to do.
It's a numbers game. If if you got 5 blockers and they're bringing 6, somebody's
going to be free.
Somebody's going to be free.
Right.
And I think that was a problem quite a few of the times.
And you observed it in a lot of those cases, we would go empty, so there's nobody else to help. And I guess it's on the quarterback to get the ball out before that last guy gets to you. But that's a tough matchup.
And it's the wide receiver to get open quickly. Yeah. So I mean, you lose as a team, you win as a team. And obviously, when one part gets out of sync, then the other part gets out of sync, then the whole thing steamrolls, and that's what was happening.
What do you think about Greg in his first couple of press conferences in the book now? I mean, this is fun. A couple of weeks ago, we were having fun with the possum comment. He's shooting possum and eating them, and now he's running.
Shades.
Yeah, he's wearing shades because he wanted a box of shades. I mean, and the one thing that I took from his press conference, other than the fact that I agree with him, I'm like him. I don't need any more friends either. I'll get a Labrador too. But the other thing I took away was competition, accountability. Those are all the things that he'll preach. What'd you take, Jim?
Well, it's enjoyable. It really is.
It is fun.
I've always liked listening to him.
Yeah.
I have to tell you though, yesterday when he was doing the bit about I don't know how to say quit, I don't know how to spell quit, I don't want my players to spell quit. It just took me to Remember the Titans and the guy grabbing the defense and saying, and I want them to remember the night they played the Titans, because that was the only thing that was missing from the end of the answer. I mean, really.
Well, and when you got a young team, sometimes you have to earn confidence, and I think Greg brings confidence into the organization. He's very confident about himself, and hopefully the players can, get that message and play with a little more confidence that they're, doing the right things.
So all this happens. It would be tough enough going to take on the Chiefs on a 3-game losing streak without any turmoil. Now with all this turmoil, the Chiefs coming to town, what can we expect on Sunday? And what would signify to you that, okay, maybe this is a success, this is a good move, we're going in the right direction for the second half?
Well, I'll tell you what, Nathan, I like Mayfield going into the game as kind of a real underdog going into the game, okay? Because I don't know, even when in that Oklahoma-Texas Tech game, I would think he went in.
They were the
16 for sure.
Number 16 in the country.
Right. And so I think he's going in as a team. He doesn't have at all in his offense what Patrick Mahomes has going for him. So there's that, I think. And I like Mayfield in that situation. I really do. I think that, kind of quietly, I would imagine he is really inside of him, like a ticking bomb that he really wants to put on a show.
I would agree.
Now, if they give him the opportunity to do that, that will be something to see. I mean, that will be great. Then it takes off. Then it becomes a great battle. The other thing is I just watched, before I came here, I just watched them in the early moments of the New England game. And they had a chance to blow the Patriots out early in that game. He missed 4 throws that were touchdowns. He missed Hunt. He missed Tyreek Hill. He missed Kelsey.
And it was the first time all year. I remember I was watching
it. And it was just missing. And it wasn't the Patriots hitting him, but they just forced him to get it off a little bit quicker than he wanted. And that might be the way you're going to have to go here. In other words, I don't know if you're going to knock him down a lot, but you might get him off a little bit, off his spot, as they say, and maybe that ball just goes a little bit wide or something. And Hightower had an interception on a ball that was just a little bit wide, but there were 4 throws that shouldn't have even been a game at the end of the first quarter.
Well, you kind of hope that they don't have the tarps on down at the stadium. You got to slow this team down one way or another. I mean, these guys can, when you look at their skill set, the least amount of points they've scored in one game is 27. I mean, that's a pretty productive offense. And if you can't double team Kelsey anymore because now they got Watkins with Hill, and then you take Hunt, and he's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. So who do you defend? I mean, it's man up. Everybody's got to do their job.
I sit in the evenings at the television station, and I'll always say, who the heck is watching these MAC games? And then I hear Andy Reid say, I was watching the MAC games.
John Dorsey was watching.
I'm watching the MAC games, and I'm looking at this guy for Toledo, and he's amazing. I mean, that's really something.
That's who's watching those. It's interesting you said that about Baker and his fire, Jim, because we had Bruce Feldman on yesterday, and he told the story of that game. He was the sideline reporter for that Texas Tech-Oklahoma game and wrote a great oral history about it. One of the things he said about Baker is the Texas Tech people, so obviously that was Baker coming back. So he was a traitor and he was all these things, even though that's not exactly what the story was, but that's the way it was portrayed, and he was booed and all these things. And the Texas Tech people said they knew Baker well enough to know that would only make him better, that he revels in that. He loves the idea of knowing. I think you bring up a great point. All of the attention that Pat Mahomes is getting. Pat Mahomes, he hosted Pat Mahomes on the visit to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So the idea, Pat is younger than Baker, but Pat's, in his second year in the league, Baker's in his first because of the redshirt stuff at Oklahoma. So they've been compared forever. There are people at Texas Tech that think the reason Baker wasn't at Texas Tech is because Pat Mahomes was coming in.
Yeah.
And they made that type of decision. So I cannot imagine how much that is something that he will use as motivation. And I'm with you. I hope, Doug, they just let him go. Just let him sling it around. I think he'll thrive in that.
Well, yeah, and I think that's what he's comfortable with. And, when you see how stagnant we've been in our first quarters of the season, in the second half when, you kind of let him do his thing, that's when he's been most effective.
It's very true, and one name we haven't even really mentioned yet is Freddie Kitchens, who will be now calling the plays, a guy who was brought here by Todd Haley to be a part of this offense and be a part of this offensive staff. We'll hear from him at 2 o'clock today. That'll be his first press conference as the OC. What do you hope to hear from him, and what do you hope, more importantly, to see from this offense under Freddie Kitchens?
Well, I think on Sunday, I would think that there's a pretty good matchup, and I didn't think many guys had a good game Sunday. I thought Nick Chubb did.
He does every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think he could have a day against them. I mean, and then there's that old philosophy that, hey, if you have the ball, Patrick Mahomes doesn't, right? So that might be better. But I like Chubb a great deal, and the more I see him, I like him even more. So I'm really happy for him. And I mean, he's an interesting running back that could have a very good day. I think defensively, as great as they are offensively, they lag defensively, which could be the problem for them in a postseason, right? I mean, can you score at the clip that they're scoring at? How do you play in a low-scoring game when Mahomes isn't hitting everything? So I would think that I would just like to see him come up with a way where I think you have to move Mayfield a little bit because I just don't think this offensive line can protect him. I mean, I think it's great, and I understand that rigid thing that I was talking about with what Todd Haley talked about last week. You just keep doing it, and you're doing it, but you're going to get this kid really hurt, and he's, if you do that. I don't think you lose any arm power when he moves. I don't think you lose any vision when he moves. I thought that play to Landry earlier in the game when he moved was a really terrific play. So that's what I hope Freddie does. I hope he allows him, he widens that pocket a little bit.
Oh, yeah, but the other problem is then you kind of shorten the field.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want him limping.
That's
want him limping.
No, yeah, I agree with you. But, the thing is, guys still have to get open. And, that's been a problem, I think, all year long.
And hopefully Hollywood Higgins coming back to practice today will certainly help in that regard. Yeah, you're right. It just seemed like the offense we started running was kind of like the Big Ben offense, and he's not 6'5", 250 pounds to take that kind of beating and shrug guys off. And I hope Freddie Kitchens does give him some movement, some RPOs, some options where they are quick hitters and clear first reads for him because – and the other part of it is you said guys have to get open. And I think last week Pittsburgh made a concerted effort to take David out of the game. No targets for him. And really, he's our most valuable vertical guy right now going down the seam. And they took him out, and then it was somebody's got to make a play.
Yeah, right.
And getting Higgins back is great, and he obviously has a great chemistry with Baker, but he's not a field stretcher either. That is Antonio Callaway's supposed to be that guy, but we all know it's too much too soon for him. But maybe you hope in the second half of his rookie season he starts to become more consistent because you need him to open the field.
Yeah, see, again, early in the game, Callaway had a play in front of the Browns bench where he got caught peeking. I mean, and Mayfield puts it right there.
Yep, right through his
hands.
hands.
Joe Hayden's right, close, but, I mean, Callaway's got position. He's got the sideline. The ball's on the side where only he's going to catch it. And there's no way – it's not like the interception that Hayden got. And Antonio did not make that play. And I think those plays early, Nathan – make him waver a little bit. I mean, the touchdown play was a great play, but you need him early in the game to make Landry and everything else effective, I think.
Agreed.
And you always hear about the rookies hitting the wall, and, that's usually about 11 games in because that's their college season. But when you got a guy, like Desmond Harrison that didn't play a lot, and then you got Callaway, that wall gets a little quicker on you, I think.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
that is a fantastic point, Dick. I think you're right. You talk, and that's what I think when you think about what this offense has to do over 8 games, guys, with 4 rookies in key slots, and not just rookies, but in 2 cases, guys who didn't play, Callaway at all, Desmond as well, very, very minimally. I mean, that's a lot. And even Nick in a timeshare with Sony Michel,
right.
And now without he's going to obviously use Duke a lot, but he's the primary ball carrier.
Right.
It's really Baker's the only one who played had the quarterback position all to his own last year playing. So their growth is just going to be critical as this thing goes along.
And I wanted to ask you guys about just going back to the line and Doug with Desmond. It seems that teams have figured out what his weakness is, and that is the bull rush at this point. So as a lineman, I would imagine, their tape's out, and you have to develop that counterpunch, and that's probably a technique thing to get more functional strength for him. What can he do, and what can Freddie Kitchens do to help on the offensive line? Because this week D Ford's going against Hubbard, and Hubbard's had his struggles as well.
Well, I mean, one thing is you can slow block with the tight end over there, help out. You can chip with the running back. And, the other thing is Desmond has to realize he's got to get his pads lower than the other guy because once the guy gets underneath you lose your strength. The thing, and I've always been a big advocate of, cut the guy. I mean, make him put it on his mind that, his legs are going to be taken out if he's going to try to bull rush you. That'll usually slow him down a little bit.
I love it. Some old school Deke right there. I love it.
It's going to be obviously,
Deke's
guys.
Getting ready. He's thread up the old film machine now and get it going.
You find a jersey for him.
I was going to say put some pads on your shins and leg whip them, but that's about a $15,000 fine nowadays.
We can't have that, gentlemen. This is always one of the great highlights of our week. We love when you guys come in, and thank you very much. And have a good call on Sunday.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. That is Browns Table. Coming up at the top of the hour, you'll hear from Freddie Kitchens, the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. What are his plans for Baker Mayfield in this offense? You'll find out coming up next. CBD on 850 WKNR.
This segment brought to you by KFC. Hey guys. For under $20 with KFC's new 10-piece chicken feast. It's finger looking good.
Hey, what's up? It's Aaron Goldhammer, and for years, customers have been asking Alex to open up locations south of Cleveland, and just like always, he listened to the customers and he delivered. Northeast Factory Direct is open in Macedonia, 9009 Freeway Drive, just off the exit off 82, and now with a third location in Macedonia, more furniture, kitchen cabinets, mattresses, the works. They're able to pass even bigger savings on to you. Visit them at any of the 3 locations, east side, west side, and now down south or online, northeastfactorydirect.com.
Bob Evans, build your own family meal to go. Complete Bob Evans homestyle meals that feed 4 starting at just $19.99. Call, click, or come in. BobEvans.com.
Hey, it's Emmett from my friends at Liberty Ford. Liberty Ford has made buying a vehicle easier for nearly 40 years. With 6 locations of inventory to choose from, you'll find the car or truck that's right for you. Visit LibertyFord.com to browse our massive selection of F-150s that are on sale right now. At Liberty Ford, there's always a sale.
Great
Visiting Angels is America's choice. We believe your loved one should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels provides personal home care.